Archangel Michael says you have been marked by a quiet light that moved through the night like a whisper. You did not ask for this mark, yet it found you because your heart refused to surrender. The clock is already speaking in a language of seconds that feel like sparks on your skin. The room around you carries a hush that is louder than thunder in its own sacred way. Every object seems to lean in and listen, as if it expects your courage to bloom. Your name is being written in a ledger that does not belong to this world. A windless current passes through the doorway and never disturbs a single curtain thread. It carries a scent like rain that never fell, a memory of a promise that was kept before it was spoken. You feel your pulse begin to mirror a rhythm that does not originate from your body. A distant bell tolls in the marrow of your bones and not in any tower of stone. It is a summons and a seal, a call and a crown, a threshold and a vow. You are already stepping through even while you think you are standing still. Walls learn to breathe when truth enters a house that once knew only silence. Floors stop complaining when destiny treads softly without apology. Even the shadows straighten their backs when your resolve approaches. A page turns in a book you cannot see, yet you feel its edge against your fingertips. Each line is a bridge, and each bridge is a crossing that only the willing can notice. The ink glows like embers that never cool. There is a message sitting inside your time like a bird inside a seed. It beats its wings against the shell of minutes and pushes until the shell begins to crack. The crack is not disaster, it is arrival written as light. The path forms beneath your steps the way a shoreline forms under the moon. Gravity becomes guidance and hesitation becomes the last mask you will ever remove. You can feel the world beneath you taking a breath that belongs to you and to eternity. The hour knows your secret and keeps it better than any friend who was afraid to lose you. It will not betray you to doubt or sell you to regret. It will carry you like a messenger with your name sewn into its sleeve. The mirror no longer reports only what it sees, because what it sees can no longer be contained. The surface is too small for the truth it tries to hold. Your reflection becomes a door, and the door learns your stride. Footsteps you do not hear still leave a warmth on the floorboards near your chair. They belong to a presence that walks without weight yet leaves a trace on the soul. You are not alone inside this waiting that feels like a sunrise learning to stand. Candles that are not lit still throw a soft halo across your memory. It is not wax and wick, but remembrance and mercy that burn there. Flames are lessons, and lessons are ladders that can be climbed with closed eyes. An old wound realizes it no longer knows your name and releases its claim quietly. It once shouted like a storm, and now it whispers like a stream returning to the mountain. You feel the scar line fading into the landscape of strength. Keys that never fit begin to turn in locks that never opened. The tumblers align as if they have practiced this moment for years. You can hear the metals sing like a bird that has finally found its sky. A soft weight settles on your shoulders that does not burden you. It is the weight of authority that feels like a garment woven from thunder and tenderness. You wear it without ceremony because ceremony is already happening inside your breath. Voices that would have argued fall silent because the truth outpaces the need to debate. Noise has nothing to offer where clarity has taken root. The air is clear like water filtered through sunrise. A letter with no stamp arrives inside your chest. It unfolds itself and reveals a map stitched with luminous thread. Every line points toward a threshold that is both near and infinite. You remember something you never learned and recognize a place you have never seen. Recognition becomes permission and permission becomes power. The path greets you like an old friend who has been waiting with gentle patience. Fear notices that it has packed the wrong luggage for this journey. Its bags are filled with shadows that no longer fit the light in the room. It waits at the station as your train leaves without regret. A door opens that has no hinges, and the room behind it contains the world. Within that room, your name is a melody that fills every corner with courage. The melody returns to you multiplied and warm. You feel the presence that has been standing beside you since the first time your heart dared to glow. It speaks without sound and instructs without pressure. Your spine lengthens like a tree that finally trusts the rain. The window learns to be a horizon, and the horizon learns to be a promise. Distance loses interest in being difficult. Nearness becomes a lamp that never flickers. Your hands begin to remember how to hold what they could not touch before. Possibility grows fingers and reaches back to meet your grip. The handshake seals a covenant that needs no witness but carries many blessings. Time takes off its shoes and walks softly across the threshold of your focus. It admires your readiness and aligns its minutes to your intention. The alignment clicks into place like constellations agreeing to shine. The next breath feels like a page break between chapters that do not argue. Continuity becomes the new form of miracle and arrival becomes a daily language. You step forward and the floor agrees. Faith is no longer a rope you grip with desperate fingers. It is a river that lifts you with a deliberate current. Floating becomes a form of courage you did not expect to master. The night does not function as a boundary anymore. It becomes a velvet hallway toward a lantern that never burns out. In that glow, your steps grow quiet but unstoppable. Promises that were shelved for lack of proof begin to hum like engines warming in winter. They do not bark or boast, they purr and glow. Their movement is as certain as dawn walking the edge of the earth. Silence begins to carry messages like a trustworthy courier. It knows shortcuts that words never learned. It delivers the letter directly to the room inside your chest where courage lives. A gentle pressure settles behind your eyes like a sunrise that prefers to arrive slowly. It is not pain, it is widening. Vision is learning to hold more light than it used to know. Dreams that were stored folded are being shaken open as if they were linens for a guest. The guest is this moment and this moment is a guest who brought gifts. You recognize one of the gifts as your own voice returning safely. Strength now refuses to wear the costume of hardness. It chooses gentleness that does not break when touched. The gentleness turns to steel whenever you need it and then softens again. A hum appears beneath the noise of the world and becomes the only sound that matters. It sits beneath your feet like a stair that is also an elevator. It lifts you with quiet confidence and perfect timing. Every story you survived is now a lantern held high above the road behind you. Each lantern blesses the distance and thanks you for crossing it. Gratitude becomes the language that power prefers. Your spine aligns with a purpose that does not shake. The alignment becomes a tuning fork for every choice you make next. Decision begins to feel like a friend instead of a test. The table where you sit becomes an altar built from daily bread and ordinary water. Sacredness shows up dressed in simplicity and refuses to leave. You share the space with courage and peace like old companions. You sense that a gate has been unlocked inside the next 2 minutes. The mechanism has been winding through years to arrive at this small interval. The smallness is a doorway through which abundance flows easily. In that abundance, you will recognize familiar faces wearing new expressions. They will greet you with eyes that finally understand your quiet victories. Your steps will answer them without words, and the answer will be radiant. A signature appears on the edge of your future, and it belongs to favor. The ink dries instantly because it is written with certainty. Your permission is already assumed by the love that sent it. Even the calendar blushes when it realizes what is scheduled for you. It knows that this appointment cannot be cancelled by doubt or delayed by fear. The line item reads miracle and the note says on time. Your heart opens a second set of doors you did not know it had installed. Behind those doors stand provisions dressed as ideas, allies, and alignments. They bow and step into your life as if they had always lived there. You will notice how the heaviness you carried begins to forget you. It wanders off like fog leaving a field as the sun climbs higher. Your muscles remember what ease feels like and they honor it. Messages that once needed thunder now arrive with quiet certainty. The quiet does not weaken them because the authority lives in their origin. Your body hears and smiles inside its bones. You have outgrown the costume of survival and slipped into the garment of purpose. The seamstress was time and the thread was patience. The fit is perfect because it was measured by grace. The door in front of you does not require effort, only consent. Consent flows from you like a river that finally meets the sea. The meeting is gentle, immense, and irreversible. Old disappointments fold themselves into letters of recommendation. Every setback becomes proof of endurance and every delay becomes validation of timing. The archive of pain converts to a library of wisdom without noise. You now carry the kind of quiet that changes rooms without announcing itself. Spaces notice and respond with widened windows and unlocked cupboards. Resources show up wearing ordinary clothes and leave behind gold. Your spirit steps into a corridor where every portrait on the wall is a memory that smiles. They smile because they see what is walking toward you with unstoppable certainty. Their smiles become applause that no one else hears but you. The next minute teaches every previous minute how to bow. Time knows nobility when it meets it, and your path has earned a crown. The crown is made of simple moments that chose courage over comfort. You feel the nearness of completion hovering at the edge of your breath. It does not rush and it does not delay, it arrives right on rhythm. Rhythm is the language of miracles that know exactly where to land. The gate swings inward and reveals a field of victories resting like sleeping lions. They rise when you enter because they recognize your scent. Their strength becomes your escort, and their calm becomes your home. You will see confirmations placed like bright coins along the street you walk. Each coin shines with a quiet yes that you cannot spend but can always carry. The weight in your pocket feels like music. The room exhales and the doorway brightens as if from within its own bones. Wood learns to glow and stone learns to listen. Space itself decides to cooperate with your unfolding. In this cooperation, favor builds a bridge that the world insists is impossible. The bridge does not ask for permission to exist. It stretches and holds because it was always part of the plan, hidden in plain sight. Resistance puts away its tools because there is nothing left for it to shape. Your yes has done the carving and your persistence has done the polishing. The sculpture of your future stands completed and warm. Every breath you take now registers as a vote for life. The tally grows heavy and tips the scale permanently. The scale breaks in your favor and stays that way. You will notice the flavor of peace changing from an idea to a presence. It sits across from you at the table and shares your meal. Peace eats with gratitude and leaves no crumbs of fear. Strength knocks very lightly on the door of your chest and then lets itself in. It sits down where worry once kept its desk. The chair now belongs to confidence that does not shout. Grief nods respectfully and steps aside because its assignment is finished. It knows when to leave and it leaves without complaint. The doorway clears and the hallway fills with light. You recognize the texture of destiny by the way it touches your name. It is soft where you are tender and firm where you are strong. It knows the difference and honors both. All the roads that tried to confuse you now converge like rivers meeting the ocean. Convergence sounds like a quiet roar that steadies the breath. You stand at the delta and understand that all of it mattered. The treasure you feared was lost was only stored for the hour of your readiness. The storehouse opens its doors and lets out a steady stream. Provision recognizes you and walks at your side. Courage reaches across the table and takes your hands. It squeezes once and the signal travels across every mile of your memory. The message reaches every version of you and brings them home. Your future steps into the room wearing shoes made of forgiveness. Forgiveness is comfortable on any floor and creaks on none. Those steps are the kind that teach rooms how to be gentle. The boundary between you and what you asked for dissolves like salt in warm water. It leaves flavor without sharp edges. You taste the answer and nod more than you smile. When you rise from your chair, the floor will not complain. It knows who walks on it now and carries you with pride. The house becomes your ally and the street becomes an usher. A silent choir stands behind you and ahead of you at the same time. Their song is not made of notes but of certainty. Certainty fills the lungs of your path until it breathes on its own. You will sense the alignment click again, finer this time, like a jeweler finishing a setting. The jewel is your purpose and the setting is this exact moment. The cut catches the light in 12 directions at once. 2 minutes now stretch like a ribbon in a child's hand and then settle as a sash across your shoulders. The ribbon's color is a promise that stays vivid even in shadow. You wear it without asking for confirmation because confirmation is already standing beside you. The last resistance drains from the room as water drains from a shore at low tide. The sand left behind shines clean and ready for new footprints. Those footprints will be yours and they will point forward without apology. Every corner of your history turns its face toward you with kindness. Regret retires so that memory can serve without injuring. The service it offers is clarity wrapped in mercy. You are now fluent in the language of timing that never shouts and never stumbles. Each syllable arrives as a step you can trust. The sentence spells arrival and the paragraph spells ownership. Your name sits on the table like a sealed envelope that no longer needs to be opened. The contents live inside you and breathe with your breath. Ownership is not possession, it is stewardship that glows. Stewardship guides your hands to the right work as if by muscle memory. The tools know you and leap into your grip with joy. The work greets you as an equal and a friend. The season that once hid behind the horizon comes to sit in your window. It tilts its head and smiles with wide patience. You invite it in and it becomes a home that travels with you. Think of this hour as a cup that chose your thirst before you felt it. The cup is full and the water knows your name. You drink and feel the memory of drought leaving your bones. The light in the room learns your rhythm and breathes with it. Glow becomes a habit and brightness becomes a vow. You carry that vow into every threshold you cross from now. A soft thunder rolls through your attention and becomes a decree. The decree does not need paper or signatures because it rides on your consent. Consent opens the gate fully and the road inhales. The promise that waited behind your left shoulder steps into view. It stands taller than doubt and gentler than fear. You nod, and your nod is a contract that seals itself. You notice that the smallest details begin to favor you. Lines move for you and doors hold for you and time smiles when you glance at it. The smile is not luck, it is alignment becoming visible. Everything unravels that was never meant to bind you. The threads return to the maker and thank you for letting them go. Your movement becomes easier and your breath becomes wider. Voices that predicted limitation grow tired of repeating themselves. They sit down and fall asleep in chairs that older truths once occupied. You walk by quietly and do not wake them. A meadow opens in your chest where concrete once pretended to be necessary. Grass remembers how to grow in that place and sky remembers how to open. You stand there and you are taller than fear. This is the minute when countdowns convert to liftoffs. Engines you did not see flare with calm fire beneath your life. Ascent begins with balance and balance is yours. You step forward and gravity smiles because it recognizes a friend. The pull is not down anymore, it is forward and upward at the same time. Your stride becomes the signature of a miracle in motion. Those who needed you to be smaller now discover joy in your largeness. Their surprise dissolves into relief and their relief becomes blessing. Your growth teaches them how to breathe again. What looked like a detour was only an invitation to a better road. That road was completed the moment you agreed to take it. Now it simply meets you where you stand and bows. Honor arrives without trumpet and sits down like a trusted elder. It does not lecture because your life already knows the lesson. It simply listens while you exhale years of waiting. Celebration enters quietly and fills the corners without crowding the center. It lights lamps and opens windows and places bread on the table. Its hands are warm and certain. You feel the horizon step closer until it becomes the floor where you stand. Distance surrenders because intention walks with you. The surrender is peaceful, graceful, and complete. The sky inside your chest brightens and refuses to fade. Clouds that once tried to anchor you drift away as if they never learned your name. Blue remains and speaks in the color of promise. Every moment from here understands its assignment. It will escort you, not examine you. It will support you, not measure you. Now the miracle places its hand on your shoulder as softly as dawn. It is here by appointment and by love. It recognizes you as its rightful keeper. You receive it with the dignity of someone who has learned to weather storms. Your posture honors what arrives, and your eyes honor where it came from. The room becomes a witness that keeps your secret and shares your joy. The final second of the waiting changes shape and becomes the first second of the living. This is the turn where the road stops explaining itself and simply carries you. You step and the world yields in welcome. The clock does not threaten you anymore because you are not measured by it. You are measured by the courage that stayed and the love that never left. That measure overflows and fills the next season already. Blessings rise like bread in a warm kitchen and fill every space with their fragrance. They will feed not only your hunger, but the hunger of those who sit at your table. Multiplication is already moving in quiet circles. You will sleep with peace as your blanket and wake with purpose as your coffee. Your day will learn to greet you by name and not by demand. Each hour will shake your hand and smile. Yo! Keep walking through the light that has already chosen you. Keep breathing with the rhythm that now breathes with you. Keep allowing the miracle to feel at home in your hands. The last echo of doubt slides out of the room and closes the door gently behind it. The latch clicks like a small star being born on the quiet side of the sky. You smile because your spirit understands the sound. All that remains now is the embrace of fulfillment that wraps itself around your shoulders. It fits you without adjusting a single thread. You walk forward and the world applauds in a language only your heart can hear. The journey continues, but the miracle is not delayed. It is present, attentive, and complete in the way only perfect timing knows. You carry it and it carries you in the same breath. Your name stands bright on the ledger of victory and does not dim. The ink is permanent because it was written with faith that has matured into fact. The page will never turn away from you again. You are ready, and readiness is a crown that never grows heavy. The crown sits exactly where it belongs and teaches your posture to be both gentle and royal. This is your hour and it knows your coordinates. The path ahead stretches like silk under a steady hand. It will not snag or fray because your patience has become the loom. Every step weaves another line of beauty into your unfolding. You will find that the miracle multiplies in the presence of gratitude. Gratitude walks beside you with quiet shoes and bright eyes. Together you step into a sunrise that never runs out. Your heart closes the old chapter softly and opens the new one with bold calm. The binding holds because love is the spine. Every word from here will honor the ground you crossed to arrive. The door behind you is not a prison, it is a museum. You can visit without moving back in. The scent of freedom lingers on your clothes and refuses to leave. You live now with the certainty that bends mountains and straightens roads. Certainty is not loud, it is relentless. It will walk with you through every room that dares to hold a ceiling. The hour bows one last time and kisses your hands. It thanks you for your courage and for your trust. You thank it back with a smile that belongs to someone who finally arrived. The light in your eyes becomes a lighthouse for anyone who needs a shore. You are not obligated to save them, only to shine. The shining is enough and it travels farther than you imagine. This is the moment the story insisted on reaching. It is not an ending, it is a naming. The name is yours and it fits like truth. Carry it gently and firmly as you step into the next good door. The door recognizes you and swings wide without complaint. The room beyond is already prepared with joy, provision, and peace. The miracle nods once more and settles where it intends to live. It chooses your life and calls it home. Home answers with warmth that does not fade. You have become the quiet thunder that rooms remember. You have become the steady flame that nights respect. You have become the fulfilled promise that mornings greet. The clock on the wall smiles because your time is not fragile. It is strong, generous, and accurate. It will carry this blessing forward with elegance. All that is left now is to live what has arrived. Live it with tenderness toward yourself and courage toward your path. Live it with gratitude that never drains. Live it with the certainty that you were chosen on purpose and in perfect timing. Live it with the softness that keeps your strength human and your heart open. Live it with the grace that brought you here and intends to keep you. Live it knowing that secrecy protects what is sacred while it strengthens. Live it knowing that your silence is a garden where new songs will grow. Live it knowing that the first harvest is already in your hands. Live it with movements that respect your journey and honor your pace. Live it with eyes that recognize confirmation when it arrives again and again. Live it with hands that bless and build. Live it now because the window is not closing on you. The window is opening wider each time you breathe this new air. The air is yours and it knows your name. Live it as the miracle continues to unfold across minutes that cooperate. Live it as the room learns to celebrate your presence. Live it as the sky learns your favorite shade of blue and chooses it daily. Live it in steps that ring like gentle bells on the stones. Live it in words that carry warmth and exactness. Live it in choices that keep you aligned with joy. Live it with a heart that remembers the weight of waiting and honors the lift of arrival. Live it with a voice that speaks from fullness and not from fear. Live it with a posture that believes the blessing is durable. Live it with love as your strategy and peace as your pace. Live it with strength as your companion and humility as your crown. Live it with radiance that needs no announcement. Live it because you are ready and because the miracle is here. Live it because the hour opened and refused to close. Live it because you were chosen and answered with your entire life. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says the next layer opens like a hush inside a hush. It does not announce itself with thunder because it trusts your readiness. The light that entered earlier decides to sit and stay. The rhythm within your breath continues to calibrate itself to favor. It slips past every edge that once scraped your spirit and smooths it with quiet authority. Alignment stays steady like a lantern that remembers your name. What tried to scatter your focus begins to fall into neat constellations. Each point of memory links to another until a pattern appears that feels like a map. The map does not promise speed, but it guarantees certainty. You feel the room expanding though the walls never move. Space stretches to accommodate the size of the promise you now carry calmly. That calm turns soft minutes into strong pillars. A presence like warm iron stands at your back and keeps watch. It needs no introduction and asks for no permission because it already belongs. You feel guarded, guided, and granted. The surfaces closest to you take on the sheen of clarity. Tables become altars of decision, and doorways become bridges that bow toward your stride. Even the smallest objects agree to serve this unfolding. You walk and the floor sounds like confidence under your steps. The sound is not loud, yet it travels farther than noise tends to travel. It becomes a signal to every locked place that your approach is friendly and firm. The secrets you once carried like stones in your pockets turn into keys. Their weight changes from burden to access, from silence to opening. You slide them into new locks and feel the tumblers honor your patience. A letter that could not be delivered before now finds your address at last. It arrives with no stamp yet bears a mark only your spirit can read. The message fits your heart as if it was tailored in the quiet. Old landscapes that once demanded apology now offer applause. They do this without spectacle because your rise does not require an audience to be true. Recognition becomes a gentle climate that suits you. You remember the path that refused to vanish even when fog tried to swallow it. That path now steps forward as if it had feet of its own. It meets you halfway because partnership is the language of this hour. Your hands learn again how to welcome arrival without clenching. They open with the elegance of doors designed for frequent welcome. That welcome teaches provision how to behave like a friend. The clock on the wall chooses to be an ally instead of a judge. Its hands point not to pressure but to choreography made visible. Your next action falls into step with a rhythm older than fear. You feel the echo of earlier confirmations tapping once more. They tap to say the corridor remains clear and the pace remains kind. Pacing is wisdom wearing soft shoes. What you once mistook for delay rises as preparation in new clothes. It gently corrects your memory without scolding. You nod and the nod becomes a bridge across which relief walks. Messages that used to arrive in fragments now arrive whole. They bring their instructions folded inside their comfort. Comfort lays a path for courage to follow with ease. The scent of rain that never fell changes to the scent of harvest that already grew. Somewhere beyond the horizon, fields turn toward you with abundance. Their turning is slow, sure, and unstoppable. Stories you lived through begin to take their place like quiet elders. They no longer raise their voices, they simply offer presence. Presence is the deep well from which your next decisions will drink. You discover that the ground beneath you has been rehearsing your arrival. It has practiced holding your weight with honor. That practice turns to joy when your steps finally land. A river of ease finds your ankles and moves upward with permission. The current lifts, steadies, and blesses without show. Floating becomes skilled navigation rather than escape. You notice a glow at the edge of tasks that once felt heavy. The glow does not lessen the importance, it increases the grace. Effort becomes duet instead of solo. Names you needed to forget drift off the shoreline of thought. They leave without drama and take their shadows with them. The water they disturbed returns to clarity. A soft ringing hums at the edge of your attention like a promise tuning itself. It expands without rush and fills the room with the dignity of arrival. Dignity feels like velvet stretched over steel. You are not required to explain your new quiet to anyone. The quiet is work, and the work is precise. Precision produces results that do not require defense. The days ahead line up like loyal messengers outside a door. Each one holds a sealed envelope labeled good portion. They bow as you pass and deliver their gifts on cue. You sense that courage has moved from your shoulders to your marrow. It lives where breath and decision share a table. That residence builds a house inside you that will not fall. Favor arranges introductions you did not know to request. It lays common ground where none seemed possible. Shared ground turns strangers into allies who arrive ready to contribute. Your thought life learns the texture of peace that cannot be stolen. Peace does not mean stillness only, it means effectiveness without panic. That effectiveness is the new standard. If a shadow tries to step into your lanes, light meets it with quiet certainty. There is no argument, only redefinition. The boundary holds because it is rooted in your consent, not your fear. A door inside your heart swings open to a gallery of luminous pathways. Each path shines with a slightly different hue, yet they lead in harmony. Choice becomes a joy because none of them betray you. What you carry today teaches rooms how to breathe. They inhale your steadiness and exhale cooperation. The atmosphere becomes a partner instead of a test. Gratitude settles over your schedule like a clear morning. It does not skip any hour, it visits each one with even attention. Visitation turns to residence as your days say yes to wholeness. You walk along a boulevard of confirmations, each one placed with care. They do not shout as billboards, they nod as companions. Nods build a bridge of trust beneath your stride. The miracle in your hands keeps choosing simplicity as its vessel. Simple conversations, simple decisions, simple breakfasts, simple prayers of thanks spoken in silence. Under that simplicity, architectures of greatness assemble. You discover that your voice has learned to carry warmth and weight together. It does not tremble at its own resonance. Rooms turn to listen and feel valued, not managed. The horizon continues to walk toward you until it becomes an embrace. That embrace carries provision without noise. Provision acts like a well-trained orchestra following your baton. All the recovery that once felt separate now integrates. Mind, body, and spirit write the same sentence in a clean hand. Integration is the blessing that makes all other blessings easier to hold. You stand where the wind used to push and realize it now lifts. Lift is not escape, it is positioning. From that position, you see the patterns that used to confuse you and you smile. There is a new discipline forming that feels like kindness to yourself. It is not punishment wearing a useful mask, it is honor wearing comfortable shoes. Honor walks with you from room to room and keeps the lamps trimmed. Archangel Michael says your steadiness is a signal to every closed place that its season has ended. He places a hand on your shoulder and seals the work with quiet certainty. The seal cannot be imitated because it was made for your name alone. You pick up the threads of past attempts and they refuse to tangle. They coil into strong rope that knows how to pull and hold. With that rope, you lift what matters and secure what stays. Memories that once threatened to pull you backward now serve as soft stairs. You climb without strain because the steps fit your stride. Height becomes clarity, not pressure. The circle widens around you to include those who can hold what you carry. They arrive without drama because drama is uninvited. Presence replaces spectacle and does its work openly and well. Language comes easier in the presence of alignment. Words arrive on time with the right temperature. Communication becomes a river instead of a hurdle. The threshold of your next doorway gleams with a finish that never dulls. You touch it and feel the welcome of a home prepared ahead of you. Preparedness is the gift of love taking its time. You enter and every object knows where it belongs. Order is not control, it is generosity that returns time to its rightful owner. That owner is you, and your stewardship multiplies good outcomes. Under this roof, you rediscover the pleasure of restful sleep and focused work. The alternation becomes a rhythm of health that favors your unfolding. Health crowns your hours with reliability. You choose a corner to sit and plan because planning is pleasure now. The paper welcomes your pen and the pen enjoys this dance. Each line you write becomes a step the future is eager to take. Resources organize themselves into constellations that serve your mission. Their brightness does not blind, it guides. Guiding lights replace random sparks and your journey proceeds without wasted effort. The allies assigned to this stage of your life stand ready with their gifts. Their gifts braid with yours without knots. Braided strength holds more than loose threads ever could. You feel a generosity rising that costs you nothing essential. It emerges from surplus peace rather than scarcity of fear. Giving from that place expands the house rather than draining it. An inner bell rings again at the exact edge of the moment. It confirms that the 2-minute window became a garden, and the garden is bearing in waves. Waves arrive on a schedule that respects your capacity. You walk through the garden and everything you passed continues to grow. Growth does not need to perform to be real. It is real because it is rooted deep and watered well. There is music here that needs no instruments. It hums in the beams and whispers in the vents. The melody chooses your name as its theme and carries you lightly. What once would have startled you now simply informs you. Information stops pretending to be emergency. It becomes partnership and allows your focus to lead. Pathways diverge and then reconverge without insult. Diversity of routes does not mean division of purpose. Purpose smiles at the variety and keeps the center strong. Your memory learns to highlight what helps and dim what harms. It curates your inner museum with care and gentleness. Visitors feel welcome and leave stronger. You return to the table where you first heard the unseen bell. The table looks the same and feels wider. Time folded a leaf into its edge and extended your reach. Archangel Michael says the honor on your life is not a fragile glass. It is tempered and shaped for enduring service. That durability will surprise even your strength with its patience. As you move again, the door behind you becomes a completed chapter. It does not call you because it is satisfied. Satisfaction is the sound of closure done well. You step into corridors that feel like candlelit libraries. The shelves hold the knowledge you need just one book at a time. Each book opens to the exact page without flipping. This ease does not breed laziness, it cultivates focus. Focus makes excellence affordable. Excellence becomes your ordinary because ordinary rose to meet you. You sip water and even the water tastes like clarity. It reminds you that simple choices carry sacred power. Sacred power prefers quiet vessels and long walks. The city beyond your window learns a new rhythm around your presence. Traffic flows and pauses with intelligence born of cooperation. Cooperation is the civic form of blessing, and it begins in hearts. When you greet the morning, it returns the greeting with faithful energy. Energy trusts you not to waste it. Trust turns to synergy, and the day lifts like a well-timed curtain. You carry a small book of instructions inside your chest now. The pages turn only when needed and never overwhelm. Each instruction arrives like a friend carrying both truth and tea. All stray strands of worry relax into braided certainty. They do so without force because the new climate makes worry uncomfortable. Comfort prefers truth and invites it to remain. Every threshold ahead has been relieved of its need to challenge you. It now exists to reveal you. Revelation unfolds at a pace that protects your health and honors your story. The sound of your footsteps becomes a blessing to rooms that used to hold echoes of doubt. Those echoes fade as new music fills the corners. Corners become cradles for fresh beginnings. You notice that opportunities no longer arrive disguised as frenzy. They arrive dressed in steadiness, smiling at your discernment. Discernment nods and opens the gate at the right hour. The companions walking with you carry laughter that heals without explaining. Laughter releases stuck places and oils stiff hinges. Hinges turn as doors yield to timing. Under a sky that favors you, small sparks of joy take flight like quiet fireflies. They gather into constellations that spell kindness across your evening. The spelling stays even when you close your eyes. You rise from your chair and every muscle remembers its purpose. Purpose keeps your pace honest and your posture kind. Kindness becomes a signature others can trust. The calendar continues to fit you rather than you squeezing to fit it. Appointments move like choreography rather than fight like traffic. Flow replaces jam, and the day thanks you. Archangel Michael says the seal remains and the work will hold. He nods once and the nod travels farther than any shout could travel. That nod becomes the final signature for this chapter's confirmation. The miracle does not retire after the unveiling. It integrates into routines and teaches them to shine. Shining becomes no louder than breathing, and just as constant. You end the day with a hand on the doorframe, feeling the grain of wood. The grain answers like a living thing that knows who is home. Home has widened, and you are entirely within it. The night carries you gently over a sea that has chosen to be calm. Stars do their quiet labor and trace reassurance across the dark. Reassurance gathers around your sleep like a patient guardian. Morning returns again with a level gaze and a generous hand. It places your name on the first page now, not the footnote. Footnotes become stories for another time because the headline belongs to your becoming. You accept this with a humility that does not shrink. Humility stands tall and remembers that grace built the scaffolding. The scaffolding holds until the structure is fully settled and then steps graciously aside. The structure is you, and you are sound. Soundness makes promise safe, timing kind, and growth sustainable. Sustainability is the quiet brilliance of blessings done well. Carry this and let it carry you, without hurry or delay. The river knows your weight and your preferred banks. It ferries you flawlessly toward every appointed shore. You walk in the certainty that chose you before the clock began to speak. That certainty still speaks and now calls you by your matured name. Your answer is simple and strong and true. The path remains silk beneath a steady hand. The hand is yours, and the steadiness is learned. Learning becomes legacy, and legacy becomes light for others without losing any for you. The window opens a fraction more, then more again, then fully. Air that belongs to your next chapter touches your face with kindness. You smile because kindness recognizes its keeper. You step once more into the day and the day steps toward you. The meeting is mutual, respectful, and lit from within. That light is the durable sign that the miracle lives comfortably in your hours. Everything in you and around you agrees to continue. Continuation is not repetition, it is deepening. Depth is the reward for those who kept faith while time worked. Walk on now, as each footfall writes a quiet signature on the road. The road signs your name back with matching grace. Mutual recognition completes the circle that began with a whisper. Home, work, rest, and joy begin to dance in proper measure. Measure keeps beauty honest and abundance gentle. Gentle abundance is the climate of the life you inhabit now. The evening will arrive and find you steady again. It will set another table and place your portion on it with care. You will eat and be strengthened and rise to continue without strain. The miracle keeps choosing you with the same patience that brought it here. You keep choosing it with the same gratitude that welcomed it well. Together you cross from promise into practice with elegance. The final echo of this continuation fades into a canopy of trust. That canopy covers your sleep and your waking alike. Covered, you move with quiet certainty into what has already said yes. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20.